What it do, H-Town? I'm Nick Stevenson, a.k.a. the president of Houston Sports. He is Ruben Calvillo, Mr. 713, and this is the Twin Toros podcast.
Uh-oh.
Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. I'm hyped, man. I got some goosebumps. I haven't felt this way in a while. A true test to the Houston Texans in just 48 hours. I'm excited. I'm hungry. Let's go 3-0, baby.
100. I feel you, big dog. Let's hop into it. The first thing I want to do, though, is let's remind our viewers our very next video will be in collaboration with ESPN Houston.
Sheesh.
We have no choice, Ruben, but to thank our viewers, man. 4.2K already on just 3 episodes. I know ESPN was looking at us, but I guarantee you they saw those numbers and said, yeah, let's get a move on this thing because I think these guys got something special. And I believe we do too. All the feedback's been great. I love watching the lives with the audience, hearing their feedback. So I'm hype about that too, man. What about you?
Man, I would not be anywhere without the people who take the time out of their day because they don't have to, right? You know, everyone has a busy life. And for me to be there, for you to be there for just 30 minutes of it means the world to me, So I just want to thank all of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Also want to thank the big man upstairs who's allowing us to have these opportunities, talk Houston Texans football, get on ESPN 97.5.
For sure.
It's only up from here, man. I'm ready to take over, Nick. I don't know about you.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I think we're our grind and our push, and I got to thank you, man. You took a chance on me. You've been doing this for a while. You've built up the majority of this following, so I thank you so much for bringing me along for the ride. Let's get this thing, bro. Let's get it.
Hey man, I'm knowing about it, dude. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to have fun, dude. Anytime, Nick. Let's get it going.
All
Man.
right, let's
talk
get
about
it.
This week 3 matchup.
Let's get it, man. All right. The Texans versus the Vikings. The Texans have never beat the Vikings.
Never.
Looking to change that this week.
They will.
There's a lot of similarities to these teams, man, as I watched them both. Right now, they're both 2-0. Last week in week 2, defense won the day for the Texans. Yep. Defense also won the day for the Vikings against the 49ers, who we have a vested interest in watching that game because we know 49ers run a very similar offense, very similar defense to the Texans. So I was watching with a very critical eye on what exactly the Vikings did to the 49ers, what the 49ers did right, what they did wrong. The Vikings got 6 sacks. They recovered a fumble and an interception. Defense was on point. I want to talk about that because you brought up that the matchup that you're looking forward to is Derek Stingley Jr. versus Justin Jefferson. I want to expand on that. I say really the matchup of this week is Bobby Slowick versus Brian Flores. What do you think?
No, I mean, that's it, 100%. Bobby has been getting some criticism the past 2 weeks for, we have not seen this Houston Texan offense be as explosive as we thought it was going to be in the offseason. So you had some fans, throwing some criticism his way. You hope it gets figured out in week 3 against Minnesota. But here's the thing, though. Brian Flores is a genius. You heard Brock Purdy say, tell him after the game that your scheme is crazy. He was sacked 6 times, however, Nick. Brock Purdy still put up 300 yards.
Yeah.
They still had 100 yards rusher on the ground, and he averaged 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I think the Houston Texan offense is going to find some success, just like the Houston Texans defense. The Minnesota Vikings defense, it's been don't break, man. And, these 2 units, they've been sacking the quarterback. They've been, creating havoc. It's going to be a real test for both offenses, right? And you have Sam Darnold on one side who looks like he's revitalizing his career.
Yeah.
But Bobby Slowick, Brian Flores, has to be one of your key matchups.
Yeah, man, that's the tale of the tape. And what I will say is you're absolutely right. Offensively, the 49ers did almost everything right. It was the turnovers that killed them. Very inopportune. Also, they got a punt blocked. What I will give them credit for is they manned up and they forced a field goal after that punt was blocked. They did not give up a touchdown. And so we know how good the 49er defense is. And we've seen what their offense can be. So that's how we know the Vikings are a formidable opponent. I will say this, man. We talked about last week, that 97-yard touchdown by Justin Jefferson. I want to give the 49ers credit. Hopefully it's something that we can watch and learn from. Other than that play, I thought they did a really good job of containing Justin Jefferson. 97, he had 133 yards, but 97 of that was on one play. I believe he had maybe 4 or 5 catches. That was it. So that Stingley matchup is going to be important, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I think turnovers is going to be the key to this game for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think the Houston Texans defense will be able to commit turnovers. Look, as great as Sam Darnold's been playing, we know how his career has been. And you have a lot of people saying, oh, well, he's going to come down to earth pretty soon, right? You know, we always had that conversation about Ryan Fitzpatrick. He'll start off the year an MVP type of guy, then
Right.
come back down to earth 6 or 7. So everyone's wondering if that's going to happen this Sunday against the Houston Texans defense. We know that Sam Darnold can turn the ball over. I believe he did have an interception last week.
Yes.
And when you have this, this Houston Texans defense who's committed 3 turnovers over the past 2 weeks, there's no reason why I don't think they can do that this week against Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a pretty important part of the game, and we'll get to the keys to the game in a little bit. I will say that when I watch Sam Darnold, and there's this kind of this thing going on in the NFL this year, man. It's really weird. You look at the top guys right now: Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield's balling out. One of those guys is going to come back down to earth. My bet has been that it's going to be Sam Darnold. But when I watch the way he's played, man, like his footwork is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you see why he was such a highly touted prospect. He can get out of the pocket and move. So I think the defensive line is going to be really, really crucial for them not to take for granted that, hey, this is Sam Darnold. They're gonna have to play ball. They're gonna have to be strong. And I think that they will. I want to talk about some of the keys to the game. If we can. I watched your recent Texans Vikings video. You guys go make sure you're subscribing to 713 Houston Sports. Ruben posts daily Houston Texans content. He's the man when it comes to that, man. So you guys make sure you check out all his stuff. But give me your keys to the game for the Texans, and I'm going to match them up with what I wrote down. I have a feeling we're probably of the same mind here, but let me hear what you got.
Yeah, one of them is, putting Sam Darnold on his ass. He is he's going to be the least athletic quarterback you face so far this year. He's not going to be able to escape the pocket as easily as Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson. He's not going to be able to break the sack easily as Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson.
Right.
So I think this defense is going to be able to put him on his back, put some pressure, get in second and long, third and long. Danielle Hunter's coming home. He's going to have his tribute video, and he has Will Anderson Jr. on the opposite side of him waiting the ball out as well. You make Sam Darnold throw the football, I think you have yourself an opportunity to win this game. That also ties into shutting down the Vikings rushing attack. I think it was their backup last week, Conklin, who had like 8 yards on the ground. Not Conklin, something like that, but
Yeah.
8 yards on the ground. So put Sam Darnold on his ass.
Yeah, for sure. And the Vikings ran the ball well against the 49ers as well. But keep in mind, they had extra opportunities, man, because of all these turnovers.
Yes.
So I think stopping their run is going to be important as well. It seems cliche, right? Run the ball, stop the run, get pressure on the quarterback. But really, that is the key to this thing. I noticed another similarity between these two teams. Last week, the Texans blitzed more than they have as long as D'Amico Ryans has been the coach. Yeah, I think it was like 42 or something, right?
Yeah.
42% they blitzed. And then Brian Flores blitzed against the 49ers just as much. And I imagine we may see that. Now, as much as I like Brock Purdy, man, if this offense is clicking, you blitz CJ Stroud, he's going to make you pay. But
Absolutely.
the very, very big key is going to be the offensive line. And I have my number one key to the game: protect CJ Stroud. Patrick Jones, Brian Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, they had themselves a day against the 49ers, man. And even though there was only one interception, but he was pressured plenty of times. Like I said, they got 6 sacks. Brock Purdy fumbled a ball that was caught, so it looked like an interception at the time. But the pressure is really what he was trying to get rid of that ball sooner than he wanted to. He ends up letting it slip out of his hand. So this defense is for real. This offensive line has got to protect CJ. Give him time to move the ball down the field. And I have my second key is protect the ball.
Oh, for sure.
I'm looking at the injury report earlier. It's still uncertain whether or not Joe Mixon is going to play.
I don't think he's going to be out there.
Yeah, we know for sure Pierce is not going to be out there. So Cam Akers is going to be our running back. We know he had a fumble last week. you cannot fumble the ball.
No.
You cannot turn the ball over, not against these guys, because not only did their defense get turnovers, but their offense was opportunistic with those opportunities. And then I have my third key: keep the Vikings offense on the sideline by running the ball.
Ooh.
We saw Cam Akers move the ball well in that fourth quarter. We need an entire game of that. I'm assuming Ngumbawale is probably going to get some carries. You're probably going to see Tank Dell getting some carries from the backfield. British Brooks as well. Yeah, hopefully. And then I really like the play action dink and dunk with the tight ends that we've seen from CJ Stroud as well. We're going to have to find creative ways if Joe Mixon's not playing. That's a big loss. Can't pretend that it isn't, but this offensive line needs the ball out. Talk about some players you think need to step up in this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll start with someone who might be starting there at center, and that's Kendrick Green. Last week with Jared Patterson, it was just not a good day for him. And, you kind of have to give him some leeway. Hey, it was your first start. You're not Juice Scruggs. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be without Juice Scruggs again.
Yeah, he
or
was
did he
limited
return
in
to
practice. He was limited in practice, so I don't know. He's not. They don't have their statuses out yet.
Okay.
He was limited in practice, so we'll see if he plays or not. But yeah, Kendrick Green, I think that would be you got to give Patterson this. It was the Bears defense.
Yeah.
Let's not act like the Bears defense isn't legit. But at the same time, you still got to perform when you're on the field. So I'm not sure.
Let's go with Cam Akers then, because it looks like he's going to be your starting running back.
Yeah, that's who I've got number one.
If
on the
there's
step up.
not a fumble last week, we're talking about him having a very solid day. With Cam Akers, when we picked him up, he was, as soon as he walked in, he was arguably your second best running back. And he looked like that all of preseason. He looked like that in training camp. And his first opportunity last week has about 4.6 yards on the ground, does get that fumble in the red zone. This might be a revenge game for him. He's going back to Minnesota, a team that, just go ahead, go get a contract, go try to revive your career. He might try to, make them look silly. With his offensive line, this might be the second game that they started together. Now that we talked about, Juice Scruggs returning to practice, and you have Jonathan Grenard on the other side. You have Blake Cashman on the other side, two former Houston Texans who understand how this offensive line works, but then you also have a quarterback who understands how they work as well, right? When you saw CJ Stroud tell Jalen Johnson, stop giving your secrets in the Richard Sherman podcast, you were like, oh my God, like this dude, like he is a legit student of the game.
For sure.
So I think the offensive line is key to this game. You cannot have CJ Stroud sacked 6 times like Brock Purdy was. However, you did bring up the dink and dunk with the tight ends. Bobby Slowick, let's keep it short and simple, right? It seems like we're trying to develop these long routes, and that was brought up by Barrett and AD on the H-Town rundown. Let's go back to how it was where you saw Dalton Schultz, you saw Kate Stove in the preseason, just stop at 4 yards, you throw it to them, and they'll take it for another 3. This offense needs to wake up, man. Like, if we don't see this passing attack, once again kind of be stagnant, we're going to have some conversations.
Yeah, there's definitely adjustment that needs to be made. You want to credit the defenses they've played. I think
for sure
most of the time they're just sitting back. They're trying to take away those deep routes. And so you got to take what the defense gives you, right? And in week 1, we did that by just running the ball. As the defense sat back, there was all these lanes for running. That didn't quite happen in the Bears game. I think, like I said, that's why I think the matchup of the game really is Bobby Slowick versus Brian Flores. What adjustments are you going to make? Last season, man, the Texans didn't really hit their stride till probably the second half of week 2. And then in week 3 versus the Jaguars, they exploded. So we're hoping we see something similar. I have very similar people on my list of players who need to step up. Cam Akers was my number 1. You hit the nail on the head with that. Number 2, I had Jimmy Ward. The reason that Justin Jefferson scored a 97-yard touchdown is because the safety got caught looking on a play action pass, and then he got caught cheating on an underneath route, and all Justin Jefferson had to do was just run a streak, man, and he beat both of them. We saw that happen to Jimmy Ward against the Colts, so I definitely need to see him step it up. I'm hoping to see Kalen Bullock really play in that center field position more so than him. Role. Yeah, for sure. But Jimmy Ward's going to have a good game. The offensive line entirely, I have them together as somebody who needs to step up, both in pass protection and in run blocking. And then Derek Stingley Jr., I said last week he missed some tackles. I'm assuming, at least I'm hoping, he's going to be following Justin Jefferson around on the field, because as much as I like Kamari Lassiter, man, unless he's playing zone, one-on-one, man-to-man, Kamari Lassiter versus Justin Jefferson, I got to imagine Jefferson's winning that 9 times out of 10. So I don't want to see him chasing him around for sure. So I'm hoping Derek Stingley Jr. is moving around. He's got to tackle better, and he's got to be on his A game. And I think because, like you said, they're old college teammates, they understand the importance of going 3-0 when the rest of the division has not won a game yet. They really have an opportunity to put themselves in a good position. The Ravens are 0-2. I mean, the Texans are in a prime spot, man, to put themselves in a really good position over the next couple of games.
I mean, and this is what you wanted to see when you saw the schedule, right? When you had people say 7-0, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I could see that." You know, you got through Indy, you got through the Chicago Bears, you get through Minnesota, man. Next week is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They haven't won a game. Then it's the Buffalo Bills, which will be your second true test of the season. This is a prime opportunity for the Houston Texans to give themselves some leeway, give themselves some opportunity to mess up at the end of the year because you took care of business in the first half of the season. You bring up Justin Jefferson, and Houston Stressens brought this up. Bill Belichick, he's been doing this YouTube show, and he talks about how he would take away Justin Jefferson, kind of not have Stingley on Justin Jefferson. It will be Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock doubling him as many opportunities as he can. We know there might not be a Jordan Addison there. So you're going to have to beat Derek Stingley. You're going to have to beat this Houston Texans defense with your number 3 wide receiver. And I'm sorry that's not happening. And if Justin Jefferson could beat a double of Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter, this is one of the best wide receivers in the game that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. He can make that happen. You brought up Jimmy Ward. Yes, I cannot see Mike Captain 2 out of the first 3 weeks of the season get beat deep. So as a captain, as someone who was D'Amico Ryan's favorite player, his boy, he cannot have that happen at all. But it's just going to be a fun matchup, man. I think D'Amico Ryan is going to be able to not shut down Justin Jefferson, but keep him contained, right? Don't make him be the reason why you win this football game. And if we see that one-on-one matchup of Derek Stingley and Justin Jefferson, man, that's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, 100%. I was looking at the injury list. Nico Collins has a hip-foot issue. He was limited, and then he was full participation today. It just updated.
He's ready to go.
Yeah, he should be ready to go. We got Azeez Al-Shaair, who fortunately was not suspended for his punch. He got charged 11 bans for that punch, though. You know what's crazy? Derek Carr did a celebration dance in the end zone.
When he grabbed his
he did a Michael Jackson dance. He grabbed the crotch. They fined him 14 bans, and they fined Azeez 11 for punching somebody. So I guess we know which one the NFL thinks is worse, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
You can punch people, but don't grab your...
And if I'm Azeez Al-Shaair, I'm paying that straight cash, like Randy Moss said.
Absolutely, man. I think he's going to be important in this game, too, especially stopping the run, man. And then...
he's been fantastic. Henry TWIN.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
He's
been
balling.
Fantastic.
He is balling. Absolutely, man. To think about what the defense has accomplished without Christian Harris, without Denico Autry, we're what? 1 week. I think Christian Harris can come back after week 4. I don't know if he's going to be ready.
Do you even want him back with the way Henry TWIN is playing? Like,
yeah,
Christian
I know.
Harris, I mess with you. Get as healthy as you can. We do not need you right now with Henry TWIN playing like this.
Yeah, you don't got to rush back. That's for sure. And that is a luxury to have. Denico Autry will have him after the Bills game. So I'm excited to see that, man. If, like I said, we know the offense has not been clicking. The fact that you are 2-0, you have this opportunity to go 3-0, really give yourself a comfortable lead in the division. Let's see, we got the Colts playing the Bears. Who knows what's going to happen?
They should win that. If they don't win that game, there's a huge issue in Indy. There's a huge issue in Indy. Like, they might have to think about. They're already talking about blowing it up.
Yeah.
Like, getting rid of the GM, getting rid of Steichen, and just, taking a whole new approach. If Tennessee loses to Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers, they're going to blow it up. And, Jacksonville, unfortunately, they're just stuck in the situation that they are after paying Trevor Lawrence. So if they go 0-3, oh, my God, dude.
I'm just saying, man. The Texans have a real opportunity here.
Round table's getting boring, Nick.
You're tired of bodying everybody.
It's not fun talking to losers, man.
I hear you. I hear you. So, man, even though the Texans have not been clicking on all cylinders, I believe they still have the third best odds to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, according to let me bring that up for you right now. According
Yeah.
to Bet US, they are I think they're plus 1100 on Bet US. So, take advantage of that, guys. They have
Yeah.
150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 with YouTube promo code YouTube150. Dude, we put 100 down and we win the Super Bowl. That's $1,100 right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. I think that's a good value. Absolutely.
Being a gambling man, might slide a 5.
I hear you. I hear you. So I want to ask you though, we've had 2 weeks of football now. And like you said last week, the first 2 weeks are weird. And that's true. I mean, like I said, we got quarterbacks that nobody expected to be balling out. If what they're doing right now continues, they'll be in the MVP race. People like Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. It's weird, bro. But just after 2 weeks of football, man, I think the power rankings from Fox Sports had the Texans still at number 5. Where do you think this team is in comparison to the other top teams in the league?
Top 5 is fair. I saw Bleacher Report had us at 2. I thought that was a little too high. Now, if we would have saw CJ in this offense go off in one of these 2 games, I would say absolutely 2.
Yeah.
But because we have yet to see that huge offensive explosion, I'm going to be fair here. I'm going to say top 5 is fair. I was even asked, where does CJ Stroud ranks in terms of top 5 quarterback? And I said, I'm sorry, I can't give him that yet when he hasn't had a great game, but I know this guy's not 6.
Yeah.
So, once we see an explosion from this offense, then we'll get a better understanding because we know the defense is there.
Right.
If this offense lives up to the hype, if Tank Down with Stephon Diggs, who's going back home, has a day, we're going to feel a hell of a lot better about this Houston Texans team, especially 3-0.
Yeah, that is another player that I should have put on this list. Stephon Diggs. I would love to see him have himself a game. And he hasn't played poorly, man. It's like you said. I mean, the offense just hasn't looked the way we expected it to. I want to ask you about the interaction between Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud after the game. There's been much fuss made about that. What was your assessment on Caleb Williams and that whole situation?
I'm kind of shocked that Caleb Williams did not want to hear what CJ Stroud was saying. Now, I understand it's after the game and you got the hell beat out of you and you were pressured on 81.8% of your dropbacks. But do not forget, and I think a lot of people forget, man, that just 2 years ago, the Houston Texans won 7 games in 2 years. They had 2 one-and-done coaches. They had no first-round picks for multiple years, no money to spend, and it changed when DeMeco Ryans got here and CJ Stroud got here. Caleb Williams is legit in the same situation. However, there's more pressure on Caleb Williams being the number 1 overall pick and going to a franchise that has historically messed up quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised Caleb Williams did not want to hear that. I'm even more upset that someone went on a radio show and said that it was performative by CJ Stroud to give him that type of talk. Are you insane?
Somebody who's not paying
It would
attention.
be stupid of me, Nick, to not take advice from a 14-year-old YouTuber who has 6 million subscribers. It would be dumb of me to not take any advice from him.
Right.
It would be dumb of me to not take advice from you, who's older than me and has more wisdom and experience.
Right.
You look at what CJ just went through, man. Arguably the best rookie season of all time, had a stat compared to Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Why would you not want to take advice from him? And here's the thing, right? They want to bring up, get that conversation from Peyton Manning, get that conversation from Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, those guys are 40s. They're in their 40s.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is more relatable right now to Caleb Williams than Aaron Rodgers is.
100%.
So it's not a good look for Caleb Williams, and this is now 2 weeks in a row where his antics, not antics, bro, but his demeanor, you're like, that doesn't look like a franchise guy. And I can say that because I know what a franchise guy looks like finally, and that's CJ Stroud.
Yeah, absolutely, man. CJ is extremely genuine, and he mentioned in his press conference after the game, I wasn't trying to little bro the dude. After every game last season, somebody came up to me, gave me some words of wisdom, some encouragement. he was just trying to pay that forward, man. And listen, man, I think this is a society we live in. We love to build people up to tear them down. So last season, CJ Stroud was the cat's pajamas, right? He was the bee's knees. He was the talk of the NFL. And now,
I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
According to Aaron Wilson, breaking right now, Damian Pierce is out. Joe Mixon is doubtful. Jared Patterson, Juice Scruggs, and MJ Stewart are questionable for Sunday's matchup.
Okay, so I'm assuming those last three will be probably game time decisions.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see Joe Mixon, man. So it's going to be on Cam Akers, who, this is one of the reasons, man, in the preseason, somebody asked me if I was in the press conferences, what question would I want to ask D'Amico Ryans? And this was during the preseason. One of the questions I would have asked, at what point do you want to see Cam Akers run with the ones? Because we didn't know at the time what the situation with Joe Mixon was. Damian Pierce wasn't doing anything, at least not in the preseason games. I would like to at least see, hey, what kind of chemistry does Cam Akers have with the ones? Now, we got a glimpse of it last week, and hopefully we'll be able to see more of that and not turn the ball over. But yeah, so Cam Akers definitely shoots up to number one on guy who needs to step up in this game. He's a bit smaller build, obviously, than Joe Mixon. I don't know if you're going to be able to hand it to him 30 times.
No.
So that just puts more pressure on this passing game, man, and on Bobby Slowick to get creative and find ways to get points on the board.
Yes, sir.
But I think if this offense stays on the field, keep Justin Jefferson on the sideline, keep Sam Darnold on the sideline, and have success on offense, then I think that is definitely a key to a victory. Go ahead and give me your score prediction, man, for this game. What's the point spread right now? Do you know what the point spread is right now?
We're according to Bet US, we're favored by 2.
Favored by 2. Okay. And on the road,
27-24. Kaimi Fairbairn, 45-yard field goal to win it.
I like it. I'm gonna say, I keep predicting that the Texans are gonna get them to the upper 20s. They're gonna have to do it eventually. I'm gonna say 28-24 Texans, man.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to shut down Justin Jefferson. He's going to make some plays. And maybe he makes one big one. But like I said, the 49ers did a good job after that of limiting the big plays from him. So I'm hoping we can see the same thing from the Houston Texans. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about this. Once again, next week we'll be moving to ESPN YouTube channel. So excited for that. I want to remind you guys how to find Ruben and myself on all of the social medias. Obviously, you're on his YouTube channel now, 713 Houston Sportscast. He is 713 Houston Sports on X, or HOU Sports on X. 713 Sportscast on IG, 713 Houston Sports on TikTok. We will put all of those links in the description. You can find me at Houston Sports State of the Union Podcast on YouTube, HSSTU Podcast on X. I am pod host Nick on Twitter. I will also have all my links in the description. Bro, I can't wait for next week. I hope we're talking about a dub. We will be talking about a dub. I'm putting it into existence by speaking it, man. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining the Twin Toros podcast. We love you guys. We will see you next week. As always, stay 10 toes down for the H.